All right, what a relief. Crisis averted, I think. Let me bring this up here. I think we've got CJ Wildheart with us via Microsoft Teams. CJ, are you there?
I am, yes, and I can hear you, mate.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you for your flexibility. We are live on the air, and I'm really glad to get you on because I've been dying to talk to you. You are here to experience a first here on Matt Connarton Unleashed. I've never had WhatsApp crash on me like that. And then apparently WhatsApp has restricted my account. They are accusing me of spam, which is very, very strange. So thank you for being flexible and welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. It's probably my fault you've been banned from WhatsApp. I've got to say.
You're going to take the blame for that? Well, that's very generous of you. Thank you.
My reputation precedes. It does.
That's funny. Well, listen, so welcome to the show. I love that song. You know, we did open with the single, One of the Boys. Such a great track. And but you've been at this for a while, and of course you've got the new album Devil. Or how new is Devil at this point, I should say? How long has this been out? This is pretty new, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean the official release was yesterday.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I run my online store, so I do pre-orders. So most people who bought it on vinyl, which is sold out now, and CDs have received, they received their vinyl and CDs a week or so before the album officially came out. But we ran into a glitch yesterday, so it isn't up on all the usual streaming sites at the moment. So
okay.
We're trying to sort that out. It's just up on Bandcamp digitally, but it's the way of the soul trader, the entrepreneurial punk rock musician these days. You get your music out there by any means possible.
Exactly. Absolutely. And Bandcamp, by the way, this comes up a lot on the show. Bandcamp is such a great site because it's very artist friendly, as you know. And also, too, when you get your music from Bandcamp, you get the highest quality file that you can get. It's not like, just streaming it from YouTube or whatnot, which is fine. But Bandcamp really does you right, in terms of the quality of the file that you're getting when you buy your music on Bandcamp. And of course, like I said, very artist friendly. So that's excellent that that you've got it up on there. Can you talk about, because you mentioned, you kind of alluded to some of the challenges, obviously, that can happen to an independent artist. And I was reading something about how this album nearly didn't happen because you were kind of struggling to sort of figure out how to navigate through the current industry and some of the challenges that come with it. Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it, I'll be honest with you. I mean, I'm 58 now, and I've been, I signed my first record deal when I was 18. So that's 40 years ago.
Yeah.
And, I'm Generation X, and I've gone through the whole change from analog to digital, and so much has changed in the music industry. But, my time was the 90s. That was my time when I had huge record deals with massive corporations. And if I hadn't had those big record deals, I wouldn't be talking to you today, because I sell predominantly to a fan base that was started in the 90s, late 80s. And the problem with my fan base is they're getting older. A lot of them are dying off. A lot of them don't buy physical music anymore. And I make a living from selling physical music, not digital music, CDs, vinyl, T-shirts. And when your fan base is getting smaller, you start making less and less money. And so it gets harder each year to call this a job, call it a living, but it's all I've done all my life. I haven't, I've never ran a day job alongside the music. Music has always been my day job. And on this album, I kind of knew how much I was going to sell. And I knew it was going to take me about 6 months to make. I record mostly on my own. Mm-hmm. And I was thinking, why am I doing this? I would probably earn more money putting the fries in the bag. You know what I mean?
Understood. It is challenging. And obviously, you've been around long enough that you've seen all of the changes in the music industry over the years. And it is true, too. You make money on merch and things like that and physical media. But in terms of what you're putting out digitally, obviously we talk about it on the show a lot. Spotify doesn't pay very much. It's hard, it's hard to make a living. A lot of people don't realize that, they think that if you're a musician and you're active, that you're in a mansion and you're driving a sports car and, you're flying a private jet everywhere. And it's not how it works.
It is. I mean, I'll be really honest with you. I had to sell the mansion in the private jet,
Yeah.
and I travel most places by hot air balloon now. But
There you go.
the way we roll in England, had to get rid of the castle as well.
Sure.
Times are hard.
Times. Absolutely. Absolutely. And this is Devil is your eighth solo album. Is that right?
It is. I mean, it's my eighth solo studio album. I put out a live album as well, and I had a best of album where I re-recorded 15 of the old tracks as well. So on my label, it's album number 10, and I have two unofficial demo albums as well. So technically, it's album number 12.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. You've been busy now. Originally, so when you first signed your 18, right? So was that with the Wildhearts when you signed your first deal?
No. I used to have a glam sleazy band called the Tattooed Love Boys in the 80s.
Oh.
And it was the band that kind of got me into London and got me on the London scene. And we were signed to a subsidiary of RCA. And I made an album with them, but I was gigging heavily with that band in the late 80s around, on the UK sort of rock scene. And it's how me and Ginger met. I was playing a club in London, and a mutual friend of ours brought him along. And from that initial meeting, we said, yeah, let's form a band together. And that band was the Wildhearts.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. So with the original deal with RCA, I mean, obviously, what was your output on that deal with the first band that you had? I mean, was that because sometimes, and this is another thing that people outside the industry don't realize, just because you sign with a label doesn't mean that the label is necessarily going to actually release your music and that you're going to immediately have a lot of success and whatnot. I mean, what was that experience like with that first deal?
It was good. I mean, the album came out in the States, but we never made it over to America. And I mean, to be honest with you, from the ages of about, say, 11 until I was 20, I went through various scenes very quickly. So I went from being into heavy metal to being into sleaze, to being into thrash metal. Then I was into sleaze for a couple of months, and ultimately I landed in punk. Punk is where I've always stayed, but it was a real learning curve, those formative teenage years, and just finding where I felt comfortable, because I love all sorts of music, and especially guitar music. And I had to be in like a kind of glammy sleaze band to get to the Clash place where I feel most comfortable.
Right. No, that makes sense. Do you, I mean, ideally, you release so many albums as a solo artist, I assume that's what your preference is at this point? Like, have you thought about starting another band or joining a band, or is this kind of the trajectory that you intend to stay on in terms of having a solo career?
No, I mean, it's purely survival. So I run my own label, and everything I release as a solo artist comes out on my own label. But you won't get it in the shops. You have to buy it from my online shop, and or you buy it from a streaming site digitally. But I record the albums. I do everything in house. I even, this week I've sent out about 1,000 albums, and I've packaged them all myself.
Wow.
So this is like a real cottage industry, and that's how I make a living. My albums, I have my own little studio home setup, and I record most of my albums on my own in my house.
Yeah.
So I'm not paying for studio time. Once I've recorded these albums, I use a programmed drums. I go to a proper studio and work with a producer, and I've used Jason Bold from Bullet for my Valentine for my last 8 albums. He's played drums on my last 8 solo albums.
Oh wow. Okay. Excellent. Yeah. But yeah, so
sorry.
Oh no, go ahead, CJ.
So the way I survive is by doing, it's DIY, it's do it yourself. But if the Foo Fighters called me and said, "Come on board, CJ," you wouldn't be hearing many solo albums from me, mate. Put it that
way. Right, that makes sense. Did you always kind of have it in the back of your mind that you were going to do this DIY as you are today? Because you mentioned it's survival, but there's also something I would think very satisfying, right, about having the level of control that you have over everything that you're doing by having your own label and by doing this all yourself. I would imagine there's a certain gratification that comes with that. Or maybe not, maybe some days, maybe sometimes you have days where you go, oh, I really could use some help here.
Mate, I feel so free.
Mm.
The way I work, there's no one telling me what to do, how to sound, how to look. It's like going shopping in the nude. I can let whatever I want hang out wherever I want to, whenever I want to, and that is really it's an amazing feeling having that much control over everything you do.
Right.
But it comes at a cost because I don't have a big record deal. I don't have a distribution network all over the world. I have a deal in Japan still, which is I'm really grateful for. And this album has actually come out properly in Japan. You can get it in shops, and but as far as the rest of the world is concerned, if you don't come to my store, you won't know who I am. It'd be really hard to track me down.
Right.
And so I am what's known as a real underground musician. I'm a mole.
Right. Well, but you're doing it. You're making it work, and that's more than a lot of people can manage to pull off. But obviously, all your experience and everything, and the legacy that you've built is helpful with that. And that, which kind of leads me to a question about the song "One of the Boys." It feels like it's really kind of about looking back, and can you tell? I love that song. And we did open with that. That was our opening track as far as the segment goes. Can you tell us about that song? And I don't know if I'm reading, sometimes I wonder if I'm reading too much into lyrics and they really don't mean as much as whatever my brain tries to assign in terms of lyrics. But it feels like it's about looking back on success and mistakes and all of it. Am I on the right track with that?
Yeah, 100%. It's the song is when I started the writing process, because it was really hard for me to just get going because of ultimately when you're a musician, you want some level of success, and when before you've written a note how many albums you're going to sell and that it's going to be a struggle, it's hard to find the motivation. So One of the Boys was written from the perspective of an older musician coming to the end of his career and maybe saying goodbye.
Yeah.
And then just looking back and saying, it doesn't matter what you've done, what mistakes you've made, how many big shows, small shows, how many tours you've done. When you look at yourself, you're just one of the boys, one of the lads. You're no more, no less. Your ego, the size of your car, or how small your car is, how big your house is, how small your house is, it doesn't matter.
Right.
You strip that away. You're just blood, guts, and bones.
Right. Absolutely. So I'm curious about this. Is this true that your 1989 Gibson BB King Lucille guitar is featured in the punk exhibition at the Gibson Garage in London? Is that true?
It was, yeah. So Gibson contacted me and said, we're celebrating 50 years of punk, and we really want to have Lucy, my guitar, in there. And I was like, really? And I was really flattered. And
yeah,
the guitar is so well known, and people know you, CJ, from the Wildhearts and all your other bands. They know, you're a lot of your solo stuff is very, very punk, and it's going to be up there with Captain Sensible's guitar. And then they said Mick Jones, and I was like, yep, you can take her, do whatever you want with her. And she was down in London for about a month, and it was at the Gibson Garage down in Oxford Street, and a lot of people saw it. And Gibson gave me an update, and they said a lot of people made a beeline to her because she's such a unique looking, Gibson guitar, and they just said, it's such a cool guitar. And I was really honored. My guitar is actually better known than me, which is brilliant.
That is wild. Oh, that is so cool. That is so cool. So what's kind of your forward trajectory? And maybe you don't know yet. Obviously, the album literally just came out, right? Devil. So do you know where you're going after that? Do you plan to make another solo album? And part of why I ask is it almost, I think you had said somewhere I read that you referred to this album as a possible swan song, but which I find hard to believe. It sounds to me like you've got a lot more music in you. But do you know what's next for you after this album?
Yeah, I've started the follow-up already. So
oh, good.
One song isn't a swan song anymore. The follow-up is called Chalk, and I've started compiling the ideas and the songs for that. My artist has already done the cover for it, and yeah, so it's literally, I'm not touring in the UK. I've got a Japanese tour in April. I'm looking for some support tours for next year for the UK, but for the rest of the summer and the rest of the fall, I'm heads down working on the next album.
Gotcha. Very good. And is there a theme with the album? You know, we talked about the song "One of the Boys," but the album "Devil." I mean, is there a theme throughout the album, or is it just? And I did listen to the whole thing, so I didn't necessarily detect anything specific. But I'm curious from your perspective, and it's great, by the way. But I'm curious from your perspective, is there kind of a theme or a unifying message to the album?
Yeah, I mean, all my albums, I write about what's going on in my life, and a lot of reviewers have picked up on the kind of, there's almost like a tinge of bitterness, and there's a lot of retrospective sort of soul searching going on in this album, and they're quite right. The bitterness it's not bitterness, it's more frustration.
Yeah.
40 odd years of making music, and I see myself here. Although I am in a good place emotionally and spiritually, financially, it's a struggle. I'm like a lot of people on this planet, struggling financially. But this album, it covers a lot. There's a lot more songs on here looking back. There's a song called SOB, called Sad Old Boy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's me looking back at the 80s and the 90s. There's also a lot of frustration with the world at the moment. 999 is about what's going on in this country at the moment. And it's a song called No More, which is all about the wars and knife crime and stuff that's going around the world. I have a very young son. Although I'm almost 60, my son turns 12 in August. And my constant worry is about the world he is going to inherit when he's a young adult. And I just hope it's better than the planet we're living on right now.
Yeah, that's also something very relatable, I think. I think a lot of people, especially from our generation, I'm also a Gen Xer, and I think a lot of our generation kind of feels that way. You know, we're we blame the boomers for a lot of what we were left with, and then we worry about what I don't have any kids myself, but we worry about what the generation that is after us is going to deal with, and what kind of a world we're leaving for them, and that cycle continues. But I think that's relatable. I think a lot of people feel that way. So and that might be some of what really connected with me about the album. Like I said, I listened to the whole thing. I think it's great. Where does the title come from? Why did you decide to call it Devil?
A couple of things. I knew it was going to be like a devil of an album to make. And I also have a hot sauce brand called Devil Spit. So the artwork of the album is taken from the artwork of my hot sauce brand. So the devil head is the logo for my hot sauce. So it's kind of all connected. Yeah, I've had my own hot sauce brand for about 12 years now.
Yeah,
and it's based on my mom's homemade hot sauce. So it's everything's connected. I can't sing about anything or do anything that isn't connected to my life. It has to. I mean, there's a song on Devil called Fade right at the end, which is about my mum and dad who both succumbed to dementia, Alzheimer's.
Okay.
And I had to watch them both fade in front of my eyes very slowly over many years. And it was a really hard song to write and sing, but I needed to do I needed to immortalize the feeling of love and hate and guilt I felt watching both my parents slowly die in front of my eyes. And to put it into music is a really, really good way of just exercising those feelings and kind of letting them out of you. And that's what I use a lot of my music to do, especially feelings of anger and frustration. I use my songs to let those feelings out. I think it's better I put it into art, into something like that, rather than drinking them away or snorting them away or fighting them away. My way of exercising the beast, the demon, is through my music. So that's why a lot of the subjects on my albums can sometimes be a little bit heavy. Mm-hmm. But if I write a love song, it's going to be about my wife or my child.
No, I'm glad to hear you say that too, because that's a subject that comes up a lot on the show, is how music is such great therapy. And anytime that you can take trauma or stress or things that you're worried about, whether it's something that's happened to you or something that you're worried about happening, or whatever it is, whatever's bothering you, or in your case, you talked about Fade and what that song means, which is I can only imagine what it's like to go through that. But anytime you can take something that's negative and turn it into art, then you're taking something negative and making something positive from it. And not only is that great therapy for you as the person who is creating that art, but it also might help other people who then can enjoy that art and connect with it. And maybe it helps them with what they're going through as well. So I think music is the best therapy, that you can, whether it's making it or listening to it. It's really is the best therapy in my opinion. So, and creating art.
I agree with you. Yeah, 100%. There's most people are the same. It doesn't matter how you're wrapped up. The plumber is the same as the doctor's the same as the rock star is the same as the mechanic. We're all the same underneath, and it doesn't matter what standing you have in life. You could be the billionaire, the millionaire, the bum on the street, or you just could be a normal, everyday, working class dude or woman. And we're all connected by the same stories. We all breathe the same air. People die around us. We can all fall in love. We can all lose something, win something. And if you sing about stuff that is actually happening in your life, there's a good chance that it's happening in billions of other people's lives. So there's always that connection there. So I always sing about or write songs about things that have happened to me. And I always have a lot of people come back at me, not millions, but, enough saying that they're connected to the song because it happened to them and they understand where I'm coming from. And, for me, that's a really important thing. I won't sing about dragons and wizards and things I know nothing about. There's nothing wrong with that, but I don't deal in fantasy. I deal in reality.
Right. 100%. Absolutely. Well, CJ Wildheart, this has been wonderful. It's great to have you on the show. We'll definitely do this again in the future, especially as you're going to be releasing new music. And I do want to, again, thank you for your flexibility in terms of what platform we use to bring you on. Technology will fail us at times. Go ahead.
Can I just say this? I said it with Devil. It's my last album. This next one I'm making could potentially be my last album. When you say it's your last album, people tend to buy more copies of them. So it's a really good strategy to sell more albums.
That is true. And it works with touring too. If you say you're going on a farewell tour, and then it works for a lot of, it's worked for a lot of artists. Yeah, absolutely. So we will end our conversation with another track from the album Devil, but not to put you on the spot, but we played a bunch of them while I was trying to get the situation worked out with WhatsApp and all that. So I would like you to pick, what should we play from the album to end the segment? It just, the only stipulation being, because we're on terrestrial radio in the United States, can't have any swears in it. The
Art of Being Free.
Okay.
That's what I mastered over the decades.
Oh, excellent. All right. Very good. So we'll end with that. So again, CJ Wildheart. Oh, one other thing. Where's the best place for people to go online to keep up with everything that you're doing and to buy the album?
Yeah, so if you go to it's CJ Devil Spit, all one word, cjdevilspit.com.
Okay. I've been to the site, by the way. It's excellent. So I really like that. I'm a website nerd, so
a lot of my albums are sold out now. So it's a good place to be, selling out.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. All right, my friend, CJ Wildheart, we'll let you go. We will hit that track, but we will do it again in the future. And thank you so much for joining us today. This has been wonderful.
Really appreciate it, Matt. All right. You take care.
All right. You too. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, that is CJ Wildheart. The new album, very new, just came out, Devil. And let's play this track. And again, I did listen to the whole thing. It's great. I suggest you check it out. Devil by CJ Wildheart. And this is called The Art of Being Free.